lockdown. Welcome back, everybody. If a Bank of America were on the brink, if in other words a Citigroup or a big bank where you have a lot of money, or you have your savings or deposits or anything else, if it was on the brink of doing what a lot of banks are doing 7, 8 years ago, would you see it rescued? Hillary Clinton has said no. Virtually all the Republican candidates said, save one, said no. Then there was John Kasich, the Ohio governor, who said, you know, go slow here. Don't make a sort of an economic theory out of it. These are depositors. These are average Americans. You tell them in that event, you're on the brink, you're going to let their deposit money go. He got booed on that. He's with us right now. John Kasich, good to have you.
Thanks, Neil.
What they said is you were not, some of those who booed you anyway, Governor, that you did not adhere to a sort of a laissez-faire approach and a tough love view of capitalism where you don't bail out an institution. You never used the words bailout. You were responding specifically to a question I had on whether you would. But Ted Cruz was arguing, no, you don't get back in that trouble again. You argued, think of the depositors. Do you regret the way you said it?
No, Neil, because here's the situation. The debt holders, the equity holders, the people who are investors in the institution, they ought to be the ones that suffer the consequences. But the depositors, the people, you know, mom and pop that stick their money in there, you know, you don't want to see them go down and get wiped out. So I think it's one, and look, there's another thing we need to do. We need to establish the rules right now about how you wind down these institutions, because as you point out, these things come fast and furious. But what I'm trying to say is, as an executive, you know, you have to deal with these things. It's just not a simple philosophy. And you got to take it on a case-by-case basis. But fundamentally, the people who are the big investors in these banks, they're the ones that are going to have to take the hammer. But as I say, mom and pop, you know, I think they're in a position of where, you know, we just don't look the other way. Now, we got to put enough rules in place, and not just so much rules, but let's get the watchdogs to bark and bite when they see things. Let's get on top of Fannie and Freddie, which encourage people to buy things they couldn't afford. Let's begin to talk about ethics on Wall Street, where people aren't just you know, putting together one risk after another, and they ought to reserve the investor's money to, you know, it's applicable to that risk. But I am concerned about depositors. And, you know, as a governor, you know, you sometimes have to deal with the reality of the hurt that you face in each and every situation.
Do you think that would open up a scab, Governor, and among the conservatives in your party, especially when you were booed? Because they've always been leery of what you've done with Medicaid in your state, and you've explained it well, that it was a savings mean and an alternative to the healthcare system that we had to get people back on their feet and help them out. But a lot of your sort of real conservative critics said, he's a big government enthusiast, he'd be a big government president. And last night we caught him in Wisconsin saying he wouldn't let a big bank go under, that he has said that he would do something for depositors. And it opened up a wound, a scab. Is that justified? What do you tell those conservatives? You're still conservative.
Look, I was one of the chief architects of the federal balanced budget. We cut the capital gains rate. I think it was the most significant cut in modern time. We created jobs. I become governor of Ohio. We've lost 350,000 jobs. We're 20%, almost 20% of our operating funds budget in the hole. We get it balanced. We run a $2 billion surplus. I've cut more taxes than any sitting governor in America, including killing the death tax.
So it's got to bug you on that level, Governor, that these guys don't trust you. They don't think you're one of that conservative Reagan breed.
Well, first of all, you know, I think if you take a look at Ronald Reagan today, I'm not sure that he would pass their test. You know, so look, when you're an executive, it's not just about philosophy. It's about making things work. And I've used conservative principles, school choice, tax cuts, balancing budget. We got the lowest number of state employees in 30 years. I've been a conservative all of my life. But, you know, I am concerned about poor people and about giving them a chance, not a handout, but a hand up. I do believe in cutting taxes, but I don't think we can just cut them to zero and have everything work great. You know, I've got to be somebody that, you know, that stays true to myself. But I don't know how anybody would say that record is not really a conservative record, because it is a conservative record, and sometimes it's practical, just like Ronald Reagan.
Governor Kasich, thank you very much for joining us. Good seeing you.